We live in an age where everything moves faster than thought. Food arrives with a swipe, answers appear with a click, and even love seems downloadable. We call it progress, but somewhere along the way, we have forgotten the sacred art of waiting, the silence between moments, the stillness that allows wisdom to breathe. Patience has become the rarest virtue in a world addicted to instant results. We rush through conversations, through days, through life itself, believing that speed equals success. Yet the faster we move, the more we lose touch with the only place where peace ever lives, the present moment. So ask yourself, how do you remain calm when everyone else is racing? How do you protect your heart from the noise of urgency? How do you stay soft in a world that glorifies control? The Buddha once said, "Patience is the highest ascetic practice." It is not passive endurance. It is a form of strength, the quiet power to meet life as it unfolds. True patience is not about waiting. It's about how you wait. It's about breathing in the chaos and finding stillness within it. In this journey, we will explore the 8 practices of patience, simple yet profound ways to train the modern mind to slow down, to breathe, and to see clearly again. These are not rules to follow, but reflections to live by, bridges between Buddhist wisdom and the everyday world of deadlines, traffic, and endless notifications. Take a slow breath. Let go of time for a moment, because what you are about to discover is not how to wait longer, but how to live deeper, one patient breath at a time. 1. Mindfulness. Recognizing restlessness before it owns you. Patience does not begin in action. It begins in awareness. The moment you notice your chest tightening, your thoughts racing, your breath becoming shallow, that is the moment the practice begins. When impatience rises, most of us fight it. We tense up. We scold ourselves for being irritated. We try to suppress it, to push it away, to look calm while a storm brews inside. But the Buddha taught that resistance only feeds the fire. What you fight, you fuel. What you observe, you free. So when restlessness visits, don't run, don't fix it, just see it. Breathe in slowly, breathe out even slower. Watch what happens inside you, the tightening, the heat, the urge to move, to speak, to correct, to control. Watch it like you would watch a cloud passing through a vast sky. The sky does not chase the cloud away. It allows it to drift, knowing that all things pass when seen clearly. This is mindfulness, the art of noticing before reacting, the power to pause between impulse and response. When you practice mindfulness, you reclaim the space that impatience tries to steal. You stop being the storm and become the sky again. In that pause, something sacred appears. Understanding. You might ask yourself gently, what am I rushing for? What fear is hiding behind my hurry? Often, impatience is not about others moving too slowly. It's about our own discomfort with stillness, our fear that if we stop, we might have to face ourselves. So instead of reacting, breathe 3 slow breaths. Feel the air enter your body like a wave returning to shore. Let it remind you that every moment, no matter how inconvenient, is part of your path. The traffic, the delay, the silence, the waiting, all are teachers in disguise, offering you the lesson of surrender. Mindfulness turns waiting into wisdom. It transforms frustration into self-knowledge. Each time you notice impatience rising and choose to breathe instead of react, you are reshaping the patterns of your mind. You are training your awareness to stay calm in the face of fire. Remember, Patience does not mean holding your breath until the storm passes. It means breathing through the storm, seeing its movement, feeling its energy, and remaining anchored in the still point within you. One mindful breath can change the texture of an entire day. So the next time restlessness arises, don't ask life to hurry up. Ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? Because true patience is not born from willpower. It is born from awareness, the quiet knowing that nothing, not even this irritation, can last forever. 2. Knowing what lies within your control. There are two circles in life. One is the circle of what you can do. The other is the circle of what you must simply accept. Most of our suffering begins when we confuse the two, when we keep pushing against what will not move, when we demand the world to bend to our will. But the Buddha reminded us, the cause of suffering is not the world itself, but our attachment to how we think it should be. When the road is jammed, when the queue is long, when someone moves too slowly, notice how quickly the mind tightens. It whispers, "This shouldn't be happening." Yet the traffic will not hear you. The slow one will not move faster because of your irritation. Impatience cannot make time move. It can only make your heart heavier. So, take a breath and remember, calm is a greater power than control. There are forces beyond your reach: weather, time, other people's choices, the unfolding of karma. To believe you can control them all is to live in constant war with reality, but to see what is truly yours to guide and what is not is the beginning of liberation. In Buddhist teaching, this wisdom is called anatta, the understanding of non-self. It means that life does not revolve around your preferences. You are not the director of the universe, only a participant in its great play. When you release the illusion of control, you stop trying to rearrange every scene and start learning from the story itself. This is also the essence of letting things unfold, naturally flowing with conditions as they are. Not passivity, but partnership with reality. When it rains, open an umbrella. When it doesn't, walk freely. There is peace in adapting instead of resisting. Here's a simple practice. Each day, write down one thing you choose to release, one situation you will not try to fix. It might be someone's opinion of you, a delay you cannot avoid, or a result that refuses to arrive. Look at that list and bow inwardly, whispering, "I let this go." At first, your ego will resist. It will tell you that letting go means losing. But over time, you will see that it means winning back your peace. The truth is, the world has never been under your control. It has only been moving through your perception. The rain falls, the traffic flows, the people change. When you stop grasping for the reins of life, you realize it was carrying you all along. So the next time impatience stirs because something will not bend to your will, smile gently. Remind yourself, this is outside my circle, and then turn back to what is within it: your breath, your presence, your response. That is where your true power lives. 3. Training small endurances. The art of waiting in ordinary moments. Patience is not built in grand gestures. It is refined in the smallest pauses of daily life, in the spaces between one breath and the next, one thought and the next. The Buddha taught that a calm mind is not something you discover on a mountaintop, but something you cultivate while standing in line, waiting for someone to finish speaking, or watching the kettle slowly boil. So begin small. Each day, choose one simple act of deliberate slowness. Let another car pass before you merge. Leave a message unanswered for a few extra minutes. Stand still for 30 seconds before replying to a question. These moments seem insignificant, but they are the quiet weight training of the soul. Every time you resist the pull of urgency, you strengthen the muscle of awareness. Every time you pause instead of rush, you teach your mind that stillness is not weakness, it is mastery. The impatient mind believes that peace will come after things speed up, but true peace comes only when you slow down enough to meet life as it is. The practice of small endurances is like polishing a mirror. At first, you only see the dust, the fidgeting, the restlessness, the irritation. But as you keep polishing, the reflection becomes clear. You begin to see the face of patience, quiet, steady, compassionate. When you slow your body, your mind follows. In the silence between actions, you start to notice the subtle hum of existence, the sound of wind through the leaves, the rhythm of your own breath, the sacred simplicity of being. And in that noticing, the heart expands. The small act of waiting becomes a doorway to a larger stillness. Try this. The next time you find yourself rushing to finish, to reply, to get ahead, pause and ask, what am I running from? Often, it is not the task, but our own discomfort with space and silence. Waiting holds a mirror to our impatience, revealing how much of our suffering comes not from the world's pace, but from our refusal to slow. So let waiting become your teacher. Let each pause be a temple where you return to yourself. The world will not fall apart if you move a little slower. It might actually come together. Because the one who can wait with grace in small things will stand unshaken in great storms. Every deliberate pause, every gentle delay is a seed of strength planted in the soil of time. And one day, when life tests you with something truly heavy, you will find that your heart, trained in 1,000 quiet moments, no longer trembles. 4. Rest well, caring for the body to calm the mind. When the body is weary, the mind becomes fragile. When sleep is stolen, peace slips away with it. We like to believe that impatience is purely a problem of the mind, that we can think or meditate our way to calmness. But the Buddha taught that the body and the mind are not two separate realms. They are reflections of one another. To care for the body is to steady the mind. To neglect it is to invite turmoil within. A tired body breeds a restless heart. When you are sleep-deprived, your patience thins like paper. The smallest delay feels unbearable. A simple mistake feels like betrayal. In exhaustion, we react instead of reflect. The mind becomes like a pond whipped by the wind, disturbed, clouded, unable to reflect the light of the moon. Rest, then, is not indulgence. It is spiritual discipline. It is an act of compassion toward yourself. Just as the Buddha encouraged mindful eating and balanced living, he also reminded us to respect the rhythms of our human form. Even the most dedicated meditator cannot find clarity if the body trembles with fatigue. When you sleep deeply, you are not escaping the world, you are returning to balance. The cells renew, the breath deepens, the nervous system finds harmony. The next morning, patience comes not as an effort, but as a natural expression of inner ease. The world seems less abrasive, people less irritating, time less cruel, because when the body rests, the heart listens again. So tonight, instead of pushing yourself into one more task, pause. Ask gently, have I given my body the kindness of rest? Close your eyes not as an ending, but as a sacred practice, a meditation in surrender. Let your bed become a cushion of compassion, your breath the mantra that lulls you into stillness. Remember, enlightenment does not bloom from exhaustion. It grows from presence, and presence requires energy. In caring for the body, you are not being selfish. You are becoming capable of deeper kindness. You are giving your mind the ground it needs to stand still, to see clearly, to respond with love instead of reflex. So guard your rest as you would guard your peace. Let the night teach you what the day forgets, that silence is healing and stillness is wisdom. Because a rested body is like a calm lake. Only in its still waters can the moon of awareness shine without distortion. 5. Deep listening. The patience of presence. Impatience is not only with time, it is also with people. We grow restless not just in traffic or long lines, but in conversations. We hurry others as we hurry life itself. When someone speaks too slowly, repeats themselves, or says something we disagree with, the mind leaps forward. I already know this. They're wrong. I don't have time for this. But the Buddha taught that to truly listen is to practice compassion in its purest form. Listening is not about waiting for your turn to speak. It is about emptying yourself long enough for another soul to be seen. When you listen deeply, you are not only hearing words, you are hearing the suffering behind them, the longing underneath them, the silence between them. This kind of listening cannot be rushed. It requires stillness, patience, and humility. So the next time someone speaks and your mind starts to wander, return to your breath. Let your body soften. Meet their eyes. Listen not with the intent to reply, but with the intention to understand. Let their words pass through you like wind through an open field. No resistance, no judgment, just space. The world is full of noise, everyone talking, few truly listening. To listen deeply is to become a refuge, a quiet place where another human being can rest for a while. Sometimes that is the greatest gift you can offer. Not advice, not solutions, but presence. Remember, you cannot listen while planning your response. You cannot understand while defending your position. When you drop the need to be right, you begin to touch the heart of compassion. In Buddhism, this practice is called deep listening, shravana, a form of mindfulness that connects heart to heart. It dissolves the illusion of separateness, for when we listen deeply, the boundary between you and me grows thin. We realize that beneath all stories, we share the same longing to be heard, to be accepted, to be loved. Try this simple reflection. When someone speaks today, slow down your response. Let one full breath pass before you answer. Feel the silence between their words. That silence is where understanding lives. To listen fully to one person is to give them the rare feeling of being truly seen, and in doing so, you give yourself peace. Because in that quiet space of presence, your own mind becomes still, judgment fades, empathy arises, and what remains is simple awareness, pure and unhurried. Deep listening is patience made visible, and the one who can listen without haste, without agenda, becomes like still water, calm enough to reflect another person's truth and clear enough to see their own. 6. Self-kindness. The patience to be gentle with yourself. We often speak of patience as something we offer to others, waiting, forgiving, understanding. Yet the hardest form of patience is the one we extend to ourselves. How easily we lose compassion for the person we live with every day, our own mind, our own heart. When you lose your temper, when you fail again, when you feel weak or unworthy, notice how quickly the inner critic awakens. It scolds you for not being calm enough, disciplined enough, wise enough. But the Buddha taught that anger even when directed inward, is still anger. To punish yourself for being impatient is just another act of impatience. So pause. Take a breath. You are not meant to be perfect. You are meant to awaken. And awakening, like dawn, is gradual. The path of patience begins not with harsh discipline, but with gentleness. The Buddha called it metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion. These are not abstract virtues. They are the roots of all true endurance. When you speak to yourself with kindness, you create the inner soil where patience can grow. Think of a lotus. It blooms in pure white, yet it grows from mud. Without the mud, there would be no flower. So do not despise your imperfections. They are the fertile ground of wisdom. Every mistake you make, every fall, every flare of temper, these are not signs of failure, but invitations to begin again. Try this. The next time you catch yourself judging your impatience, gently place a hand over your heart and say, "I forgive myself for being human." Feel the warmth beneath your palm. Let it remind you that growth happens not through punishment, but through care. Self-kindness is not self-indulgence. It is an act of courage. It allows you to meet your own darkness without fear, to sit with your flaws without fleeing. And when you can hold yourself in compassion, your heart naturally learns to hold others the same way. Remember, even the Buddha stumbled through lifetimes of confusion before finding the middle way. He became enlightened not by hating his weaknesses, but by understanding them. So be patient with your journey. Trust the slow rhythm of transformation. You are not behind. You are becoming. Each time you choose gentleness over judgment, you are cultivating the kind of strength that lasts, the strength that bends, that forgives, that keeps opening. Because patience is not a wall you build against yourself. It is the open hand that says, "Even now, I am worthy of peace." And in that acceptance, your heart, like the lotus rising from the mud, begins to bloom. 7. Gentle laughter, finding joy in the delays. When life refuses to go your way, smile. Not the forced smile of denial, but the gentle smile of understanding, the kind that says, "Ah, so this too is part of the dance." The Buddha never taught that life would obey us. He taught that peace comes when we stop fighting the nature of things. Sometimes, the simplest way to return to balance is not through deep philosophy, but through a quiet laugh, a soft exhale that says, "I see the humor in this human mess." Laughter, when born from awareness, is wisdom in disguise. It melts tension faster than logic and turns irritation into perspective. A smile is a small enlightenment, a moment when the ego loosens its grip and the heart remembers how to breathe. Think of a child tying their shoelaces, fumbling for 5 long minutes while you stand there, late and impatient. You could scold, sigh, or rush, or you could pause and see the innocence of the moment, how this little being is learning coordination, focus, and perseverance. You could even smile at the irony, how you, the adult, are being taught patience by the very child you thought you were teaching. That is the secret beauty of humor. It reveals the absurdity of our seriousness. It reminds us that control is an illusion, and that even mistakes have a kind of grace when seen with a light heart. In Buddhist wisdom, joy is not the opposite of suffering. It is what arises when we no longer cling to how things should be. Laughter is the breath of patience, the exhale that releases resistance. When you can laugh softly at life's delays, you disarm your frustration. You become larger than the moment that tested you. Try this. The next time something goes wrong, a plan changes, A delay stretches too long. A person disappoints you. Take one mindful breath and smile, even slightly. Feel how that small curve of your lips shifts the energy in your body. The problem may not vanish, but your relationship to it changes instantly. Because humor is not escapism. It is acceptance wrapped in warmth. It is saying, I see the imperfection, and I choose to love it anyway. The enlightened ones are not solemn statues. They smile. Look closely at the Buddha's face. There is always a trace of laughter resting in the corners of his lips, the laughter of one who understands that everything is fleeting, including our frustrations. So when the world slows you down, smile. When you spill the tea, when the line is long, when your plans unravel, let a light laugh escape. It is not the laughter of avoidance, but of awakening, because sometimes wisdom doesn't sound like a sermon, it sounds like a soft laugh echoing in the middle of chaos, reminding you that everything, even this, is okay. 8. Compassion. Seeing others through the eyes of understanding. When someone angers you, pause before you react. Ask yourself quietly, if I were them tired, worried, afraid, would I truly act any differently? This simple question is the beginning of compassion. The Buddha taught that true patience is not just the ability to endure others, it is the capacity to understand them, to see beyond their words, beyond their actions, into the suffering that shapes them. Every person you meet carries invisible burdens, fears they haven't named, wounds they haven't healed, disappointments they hide behind anger or pride. When we forget this, we judge, we react, we let our pain collide with theirs, and the cycle continues, anger feeding anger, blame feeding blame. But when we remember that others, like us, are struggling to make peace with their own minds, something softens, the heart opens, the heat dissolves into empathy. Compassion does not make you weak, it makes your heart vast. It takes far more strength to understand than to retaliate. The one who can stay gentle amid hostility holds a kind of power that cannot be taken away, the power to heal, to transform, to end the chain of suffering right where it begins. Try this. The next time someone frustrates you, the rude driver, the impatient coworker, the loved one who snaps without reason, breathe once for yourself and once for them. Whisper inwardly, may you be free from suffering. You do not need to say it aloud. The sincerity of the wish is enough. This is the essence of karuna, compassion in Buddhism. It is the bridge between understanding and forgiveness, between pain and peace. When you hold compassion in your heart, you no longer see enemies, only fellow travelers lost in their own storms. Empathy is the highest form of patience. It asks us not to suppress our feelings, but to transform them through wisdom. It invites us to see that every act of anger is really a cry for help, every harsh word, a symptom of confusion. When you meet that confusion with clarity, the fire cannot catch. Remember, patience is not silence in the face of injustice, but clarity in the face of ignorance. Compassion does not excuse harmful behavior. It simply refuses to add more hatred to the world. The Buddha said, conquer anger with understanding. Conquer hatred with love. Let that be your compass. When your heart is wide enough to hold another's pain without being burned by it, you have reached the summit of patience. You have turned reaction into realization and hostility into healing. So the next time you are tested, do not ask, how could they? Ask instead, what are they going through? Because in that question lies the seed of peace for them and for you. 8. Small practices. 8 gentle pauses in the rush of modern life. And with each pause, the mind grows quieter, the heart grows softer. This is the essence of the 8 practices of patience, not a doctrine, but a living rhythm. It is the art of stopping in a world that never stops, the courage to breathe in a society that only runs. Every act of patience, no matter how small, is a step toward awakening, a return to the calm center that was never lost, only forgotten. Imagine a lake after a storm, still, clear, and reflecting the vast sky above. That is what your heart becomes when you learn to wait without resistance, to listen without judgment, to forgive without bitterness. The storms of life still come, but they no longer own you. You watch them pass, knowing that stillness always returns. So today, try something simple. Wait 1 minute longer before reacting. Listen to one person more deeply than you usually do. Smile softly when life slows you down. These are not small gestures, they are sacred acts of mindfulness. This is meditation in motion, the quiet practice of peace. And when you do, notice how the world itself seems to breathe with you, slower, kinder, lighter. If these words resonate with your heart, leave a comment and share your reflection. It will be our shared reminder that somewhere, someone else is also learning to be patient, to breathe, and to love. Together, we walk the path of the eightfold patience, and with each mindful step, the world grows a little more peaceful.